is Dan Zare, who is the host of the fabulously popular podcast. Does anybody listen to Coffee and Kenobi in the house? And also a writer for StarWars.com. And just recently got to attend the premiere of this movie in Hollywood. So, to share some of his insights with us for Han Solo and this film, let's all welcome Dan. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to us.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Peoria Riverfront Museum, for having me. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, really? We're going to see a new Star Wars movie, and that's all you got? Hello, everybody. Hello. Much better. My name is Dan Zare. I'm the host and co-creator of Coffee with Kenobi. I also write for StarWars.com and IGM. And I'm very, very excited to talk to you a little bit today about the mythology of Star Wars. Now, yes, I did go to the premiere, and I will talk about that. I will not say a thing about this movie. I won't even tell you if I like the movie. Nothing. So do not worry. No spoilers. That is the motto of Coffee with Kenobi. Anyway, so let's get started. Who here likes Han Solo more than Luke Skywalker? Yeah, well, Luke's great too, but there's definitely a different type of archetype. Han Solo is more of the reluctant hero, right? I mean, think about when you see Han Solo for the first time. He's wearing a white shirt, but over it is a black vest, right? So that's kind of showing a dichotomy. He's more good, he's not bad, but he's a little bit conflicted. There's a lot of symbolism with him. There's a lot of symbolism with all of Star Wars. That's a shameless plug of me at Lucasfilm, by the way. So, where this all started for Harrison Ford, for Han Solo, is American Graffiti. I'm assuming you've heard of American Graffiti. Yes. So, American Graffiti was George Lucas's second film. His first one was THX 1138, kind of a real art housey film, and he liked it, but it wasn't really necessarily well received, so he needed to make some money. He had this idea for American Graffiti, and he loved automobiles. He loved racing. In fact, he, at one point in his life, was in such a bad car accident during a race, he decided, I can't race anymore, I think I'm going to make movies. So ironically, it led to this. Now, over here on the right is, of course, Harrison Ford. This was his first major film. He plays kind of a wild card, rogue, smuggler type, and maybe you've heard the type before. And he loved it, and this movie is considered one of the top movies of all time. Now, when this movie was finished, this didn't really propel his acting career, so he went back to what he did for his day job. They had a second child on the way, and he went back to being a carpenter. Well, one day, a gentleman by the name, oh, by the way, before we get to that, Ron Howard, you may have heard of him too. He was 18 years old in American Graffiti. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because when you think about this, he directed Solo, A Star Wars Story. So see, it's all connected in the great circle of, wait, that's another franchise. Still Disney. So Harrison Ford, he was doing some carpentry work, and a producer said to George Lucas, hey, this guy, he's a pretty good actor. Why don't we have him try out for the role of Han Solo? Christopher Walken read for Han Solo, as did Kurt Russell, but it just didn't fit for George. So he said, well, I know Harrison's a good actor. I had him in American Graffiti, but I don't really want to have him as my De Niro. I want to try other roles. I want to try new characters, new actors for these characters. But ultimately, he read for it. He was great, and he's one of the most famous actors of all time. Now, the gentleman over here is Billy D. Williams. He is, of course, the actor who plays Lando Calrissian. Now, here's some older shots. It's amazing when you Google these two, how many pictures you see. That's Harrison, late 70s, early 80s, and that's Billy D. Williams. Harrison Ford, Billy D. Williams, if you don't know, he plays Lando Calrissian, and he has been known since The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, and most of you already know this, as one of Han's oldest friends, but they have a bit of a shady past. Now, Billy D. Williams was as cool as the other side of the pillow, extremely popular, beloved actor in the late 70s. He was most famously in Lady Sings the Blues with Diana Ross, and he's just the epitome of cool. So when George wanted to cast somebody for Lando Calrissian, Billy Dee was the clear choice. Now, fast forward to 2018. This gentleman over here, his name is pronounced Alden Ehrenreich. He is the person to take on the role of Han Solo. This movie, if you're not aware of it, takes place before A New Hope, before the original 1977 Star Wars. So he is the actor who's going to take on the mantle of Han Solo. Most famous, by the way, he was in the movie, the Coen Brothers film called Hail Caesar, and he stole the show. And that was one of the roles that he did that showed Lucasfilm that he is the guy that they want for Han Solo. Han Solo, of course, and again, this is talk about, shooting fish in a barrel. You all know this already. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Han Solo goes through quite a bit to get to where he is at the end of Return of the Jedi. Of course, he's in The Force Awakens. But he's a very beloved character. We know this. That's why you're here right now. We know that already. Did you also know, by the way, that besides these films, there's this long... Did you know, by the way, quick thought, today, you know why today is a big deal for Star Wars?
May 25th.
Yeah, why is that a big deal?
That's where it came out.
41 years ago today, the original Star Wars premiered. Wow. Amazing. So besides these movies, again, we've got this chronology of comic books, of novels. These three are considered the best of the expanded or Legends library of Star Wars. They're not in the canon. Now, canon, for those of you who aren't aware, canon is a term that means law. It's actually a Christian word. It means the law. So if something is in the Star Wars canon, it's considered part of the actual universe. So creators who come after the fact and have to tell these stories, they're beholden to the canon. This was not in the canon. This is from April of 79 to August of 80. It takes place right before the original A New Hope. It just shows Han and Chewie just kind of going on all these adventures. And you can tell by the covers they're definitely very unique plots, but they're very, very beloved. And they're actually available. The three of them are bound into one collection. And they're really, 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 really fun, really well received. Lando, of course, every picture you Google of Lando has him with a cape. To no one's surprise. Oh, Exhibit A, there you go. So Lando Calrissian was, of course, from The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, as well as Return of the Jedi in 1983. Famously, very famously, at the end of The Empire Strikes Back, he betrays Han Solo and leads to Han being frozen in carbonite and taken away by Jabba the Hutt. Now, for those of you who were not born when this movie came out, which sounds crazy to me, but it is a thing, we had to wait 3 years to find out what happened. So keep in mind that for the 3 years between 80 and 83, and by the way, still to this day, whenever Billy Dee Williams is approached, people always say to him, "Why did you betray Han Solo?" And he's like, "Hey, that was a character I played. I didn't, Darth Vader, he's scary." So Lando and Han have this really interesting history. He also has a series of novels, not necessarily as popular as the Brian Daley solo novels, but still very, very similar vein. And this is before Han Solo wins the Falcon from Lando, which that's been sort of out there since 1980, so I'm not spoiling anything there. You don't really know how, or when, or why. I wonder if we ever will find out. So Marvel Comics, the top one on the right and over here, these are from the more current Marvel Comics. Back in 2015, Marvel said, hey, since Disney bought Lucasfilm and Disney also owns Marvel, why don't we make more money and make more Star Wars comic books and make them in the canon? And they certainly have. So Han has had a number of adventures in the comic books. The outer ones are from the late 70s, early 80s, the Howard Chaykin Star Wars concept. And these are different novelizations or adaptations of the film. Over here on the right, you'll see a green bunny. It's not a sentence I've said too much in my life. But that bunny is named Jackson. He's actually a carnivorous bunny, and he's very, very popular amongst a subsect of Star Wars fans. But this is the kind of stuff that they were putting out because Lucas said, you know what, you can't really make anything that's significant to these movies, so I ultimately have final approval, but you can just go crazy. Just do whatever, unless I tell you no. So in other words, Yoda can't be on roller skates or whatever, because I had certain guidelines, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. You just have to not do it the wrong way or I'll cancel it. So it was very, very kind of hard to follow, but people did the best they could, and then we got carnivorous green bunnies. Okay? Now with the new canon, that's a lot different in the story. speaking of stories, I was very, very, very fortunate. About, let's see, the beginning of May, I got an email from Walt Disney World, and it said, "You are invited to the Solo red carpet premiere." Now, I mean, you can ask my wife, who's here in attendance. Isn't she lucky to be married and you have to be dragged to all this stuff all the time? Sorry, hon. Thank you for being such a trooper. When I got this email, my heart was just pounding on my chest because I've been wanting to do something like this all my life. I know you all have, of course. So 2 weeks later, we went. I took my son, and we went to the World Carpet premiere in Hollywood, California. You see up there, they built, on Hollywood and Highland, they built a replica of the Falcon. I don't know what the scale was to the actual Falcon in the films, but it was incredible just being there. I got there early in the morning, and I had my Star Wars backpack and a Star Wars hat, a Lucasfilm hat, and the guy at the front desk said, "Hey, I'm going to guess I know why you're here. Let me show you something." So he takes out his phone, and he shows me the Millennium Falcon that they're building right outside the hotel. And so my son had been up, he had 30 minutes of sleep the night before because he was very excited to go to this. So he said, "I'm going to go lay down." I said, "That's fine. You probably should. I'm going to go watch the Millennium Falcon being built." That's sentence ever, right? So I go out there. I see it. Hours later, we get to go, and we go to the world premiere. And it was phenomenal. Just being in that atmosphere was electric. Here's some more shots of that. What you do is, as you go around kind of the corner over here on the left, they have this huge place where you check in. They've got, everybody's letters of the alphabet. You check in, they give you a badge. Boom, you're on the red carpet. If you go to the left, you're in the movie, and you're a big deal. If you go to the right, you're me, and it's like this narrow to walk through. But who cares, because you're the red carpet, and you walk through, and you're able to just kind of circulate, and you're able to see all these people. So Paul Bettany walks by, who's in this film. He's the Vision in Avengers. He plays a villain called Dryden Voss in this film. I met Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney World. I met Eunice Suetamo, who's Chewbacca. I got to see a lot of people because they're just walking by and they're excited. They actually wanted to talk to me or anybody who was there because they want to know what you think about the movie. So it's really interesting. I would imagine 99% of the time they don't want you to come up and say, "Hey, guess what I thought about the movie?" But this night, they actually did. Speaking of, so there's me with Eunice. He's the one on the left because he's Chewbacca. And he was a very, very charming guy. I'd asked him what it was like to play with Han Solo because he was in The Force Awakens and he got to play Chewbacca with Harrison Ford. And I used to be in Solo with Alden Ehrenreich, so he's kind of got a unique legacy thing going. At the after party, they had all the costumes set up in these huge displays and a lot of security around there because, as they said to me, "No, don't try to take this." I really wasn't going to when it fit in my suitcase, but very cool. And then we went to the press junket, and that's how close I was to the actors, which was really cool. At the very end, I got to ask Ron Howard a question about what it means to create a character that is very much an ambiguous character, because let's face it, in this world we live in, good and evil, one of the reasons the original Star Wars is so appealing is because at the beginning, Luke Skywalker wore all white. Princess Leia was all white. Darth Vader was dressed in all black. It was very, very clear who's good and who's bad. But now the world we live in now, things are a lot more ambiguous. So I asked them, what kind of challenges is there to creating a new hero in an ambiguous world? Well, they talked a lot about the ideas and the challenges and how you can be able to tell a story and make commentary about the real world through the world of fiction, which I think is very appealing. They also had a replica of the interior of the Falcon, and so I got a couple of pictures there, including this one. I know, right? It's on our mantle at home above the fireplace next to the family picture. Right. Well, actually, she doesn't know yet, but that's going to happen soon. So the way this worked out is they have this traveling exhibit of the Falcon, and I got in there, and you walk in and you give your phone to the professional photographer, and he said, "I'm just going to take photos for about a minute or so, do whatever." So I'm first like, wow, and they raised the handle of the controls up to me because it was adjustable, because she was a lot taller than I am. And so I just smile, and then I reach up to grab the controls for light speed, and then Chewie does the same thing. And I went like this and laughed, and he raised his hands in the air, and I thought, wow, this is crazy, because it looks like I'm actually in the cockpit of the Falcon. I'm not, but it was just, that's the kind of stuff that Lucasfilm does. That's how much they care about this, and they care about it because of people like you, who've been taking their families to see Star Wars movies for over 40 years. I mean, that's a big deal. Yes, they make money off of it. Of course, you have to make a living, but they care about this product, and they care that you care about the product. And they put a lot into this, and I think you're going to see that when you see this film, absolutely. By the way, there is one other story I wanted to tell you about. That guy right there with the white hair, he's kind of a big deal. His name is George Lucas. So this is what happened. I'm on the red carpet, just kind of basking in this incredible experience, and I turn around and I see almost that exact picture. And I looked at my son and I said, "That's George Lucas, that's George Lucas, that's George Lucas." And he goes, "I know. So I thought, I look, and there's no one between George and I. George, like we're best friends or something. And so I thought, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to talk to George Lucas. I never thought that would ever happen. So I walked up to him, and I reached out, and I put my arm around him, and I patted him on the back. "Hey, Georgie." And I said, "George, thank you so much for all you've done in the Star Wars universe you've created. May I grab a quick photo with you?" And he smiles, and he looks me up, and he looks me down, and he says, "Actually, I think I have to keep moving." And he just kept walking. And honestly, he could have said to me, "You're ugly and your mother dresses you funny, you smell weird." I would have felt exactly the same. I don't care. I got to talk to George Lucas. I mean, that was the pinnacle, right? And he later, because we saw the movie in the Dolby Theater, which is the theater where they have the Oscars. So I was in the very, very, very back row, which was fine. Who cares? I was there. And then 5 minutes before the movie starts, everyone stands up and starts cheering. And George walked in. So I got to see this movie for the first time with George, who saw it for the first time. It was just an amazing, amazing experience. And here I think is a photo of him looking at me, and I'm trying to talk to him, saying, "Hey, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to keep moving, buddy. Just going to keep moving. Just keep your hands where I can see them." Okay. So that's really it. If there's no questions, I'm assuming you probably have no questions because you want to see this movie. Am I right? Thank you so much. By the way, if you're ever thinking, "I want to hear some Star Wars conversation, I want to think, I want to laugh," Coffee with Kenobi, we're on iTunes. We're everywhere you can listen to podcasts. We come out weekly. We have a great show. We're going to have a show very soon where I interview Eunice, who is Chewbacca. A lot of great stuff. So I'd love for you to listen up, write a comment on iTunes. It would help us a lot. Thank you so much for your attention. Enjoy this wonderful film. Thank you.